Hey YouTube, this is Zach with Achilles Financial, and today I want to talk about Roth IRAs. This is the little known secret that you don't learn in school, but is very widely spoken about on YouTube. And if you currently are just watching these videos and are not actively opening or do not have a Roth IRA, the only person that you're hurting is yourself. So I would heavily consider doing so. And the brokerage that I personally use and the one that I would encourage people to use would be TD Ameritrade. And you can see that here. This is my TD Ameritrade account. And again, you have the capability to just go to planning and retirement, click on IRA, and come right here. One of the ways that you can compare what a traditional IRA, which stands for individual retirement account, versus a Roth IRA is just click on that button right there. One of the biggest advantages of a Roth IRA is that you do not have the capability, or rather you will not be taxed on any of the money that you pull out of a Roth IRA after you turn 59 and a half. So you can see some of the differences here where all of your contributions to a traditional IRA, which most people have through work, are going to be tax deductible. The reason that this is different than a Roth IRA is Roths are not tax deductible. However, that means that anything that you pull out on the back end are not going to be taxable. So if you invest $5,000 today, you wait 30 years, and then when you're 65, you pull that money out. That money is yours, and the government does not get a piece of that. You can see that some of the distributions are limited to when you are 59 and a half or older. And again, you can make all of these judgments and assumptions depending on where you are in life. However, I heavily recommend that if you are under the age of 40, you take full advantage of your Roth IRA. And again, you can see some of the other items right here. You are not supposed to withdraw early, so I would not recommend that you pull any of that money out. But it's so beneficial to have a Roth IRA. They've got a lot of information here. They're very easy to set up and to fund. The one that I created, and I was going to kind of use that as a video, but I did not want to share all of my personal information with all of you. But it took me about 15 minutes to create one and to add that initial funding because it was under $1,000. The limit again is $6,000. And so this is something that on a yearly basis, I recommend that you just go ahead and get started. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have to fund every single day of every single week. But even $100 today is better than not having any money in it next year. And if you want to hit that $6,000 limit, that is right at $115 a week or $400 a month. And again, this kind of sounds like a lot, and I understand that depending on your financial situation, that may not be achievable. But the easiest thing that you can do is to open the account and then get started. One of the benefits of a Roth IRA is, again, the ability to take those tax deductions late or take them now as opposed to later when the account value is going to be much higher. So I want to take us over to a bank rate calculator to see what I mean by that. As you can see what I have here on the screen, I am doing a 401k employee savings plan where my boss is going to add on to me or add with me. So this is specifically through a 401k employer match. What I'm actually going to do is zero that out and zero that out to highlight that this is not going to be inclusive of the employer adding anything to this value. Rather, what I'm doing here is just doing a percentage to contribute of 6% of the U.S. national average of $45,000 of income and expecting a 3% salary increase. I've put in here that I'm going to have, or I am currently 24 because Zach with Achilles Financial is 24, and that I'm going to retire at 65. The reason I've selected the annual rate of return is just using the market over any 50-year period over the past since really it started. As you can see, when we hit that calculate button, that this account is going to have $886,000, really $887,000 at the time that I would essentially have all of this money available to me. My initial investment is much smaller than that, really only about a quarter of that. The true advantage of a 401k plan is when your employer invests with you. You can also see that I'm making sure not to go over that 6,000 limit. So in an ideal world, I would actually max that out right from the get-go, and we're not doing that right here. So these numbers do grow pretty rapidly when you take that into consideration. What I really want to highlight here is if instead of saying 6% that I contribute 5% of my salary or even 4%, then you can see that that number drops pretty dramatically. The difference is I don't have to pay taxes on this amount right here. So the reason that that's so important is because if you are being taxed on a value such as the one that we were just looking at, which is $886,000, right now, if you took all of that in one lump sum, depending on your state taxes, you're going to be paying anywhere between 40 to 50% of your income. Again, depending on state taxes, sometimes more than 50% of your income to be able to pay that. However, under a Roth, you will not have to make those payments. So that's one of the key advantages to being able to utilize a Roth IRA account. And again, you can get those for free on TD Ameritrade, and I would highly, highly recommend doing so as soon as possible. The reason that Roths are not talked about at nauseum is because I do think that it is a easy way to make sure that you're able to take care of yourself in retirement, and that seems to be not a topic that a lot of people like to discuss in school. So please go out, create your own Roth IRA. $6,000 is not a lot of money. If you make it a point to make sure that you are consistently investing towards that, that is the maximum, not the minimum. So the minimum is a number that you can set for yourself. So let me know if you have a Roth IRA down in the comments below, or if you are going to be getting one this calendar year. So let me know, and if you found this content helpful, please leave a like and subscribe. Thanks everyone. Talk to you later.